Warning, Tongue and Geek contains heavy spoilers. If you haven't read, watched, or played the content being reviewed this episode, know that we will definitely spoil major plot points. Also, this show isn't for kids. We use words like and and it would take too much time and effort to edit them all out. Please don't tell our moms. Hello, lovely listeners, and welcome to Tongue in Geek, where two more white guys on the internet give their unsolicited opinions on all things geeky. I'm Isaac.
I'm Tyler.
Don't you dare bring this energy. Tyler brought this on himself. I gave him every opportunity, and he chose this. Because today, we're reviewing the first saga of the Sonic the Hedgehog IDW comic, written by Ian Flynn and art by a whole bunch of different people. They change artists about every issue. And covering
pretty much every issue.
Yeah, and covering the first 12 issues that were released from April 2018 to January 2019. Tyler, I know you're so excited, and you're such a Sonic fan, but would you mind if I take the background for this one?
Oh, please do. I would be honored if you took the background.
Okay, so before we get into the IDW Sonic comic, we kind of have to talk about the elephant in the room, which is Archie Sonic. The Archie Sonic series.
Yes, please, because I hate to cut you off, because this IDW series is supposed to be a launching point, and it is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it references so much past shit. I'm like, this is a launching on point?
It's more based on the game lore. And
the game lore.
Yeah, because the Archie Sonic comic is not. For those who don't know, Archie Comics, famous for obviously Archie, they ran Sonics for 290 issues, the main series. That's not even including spin-offs, for over 20 years.
Whoa. Would you say that means that Sonic is the longest-running comic based on a video game character?
Actually, it is both the longest-running comic series based on a video game and the longest-running franchise-based comic series. So it's got two longest runnings, as well as...
If anybody's confused as to the delivery of my question there, that is an inside joke between Isaac, Erica, and I for about, 5 years now?
I'd probably say our entire friendship, so probably a good 6 or 7.
Yes. It's only funny to 4 people on Earth, but now our pod audience knows it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
But yeah, the Archie Sonic comic was based on the 1993 animated series by Geek Entertainment. The Archie Sonic has hundreds of characters, many of which were original to the comics and had nothing to do with the video game or even the television show on which it was based. There's lots and lots and lots to say about Archie Sonic, but we're going to limit it to the man, the myth, the legend, Ken Penders.
Yes, we have discussed Mr. Penders before.
Yeah, so Ken Penders wrote for Archie Sonic from issues 11 to 159. Basically,
holy shit, that much?
Yeah, he holds...
Damn.
Yeah, he holds the record for the highest number of roles in Sonic Comics production. He has been a writer. He's worked for pencils, inks, colors, and letters. He has held 5 different positions on Archie Sonic Comics. He also had a 32-issue Knuckles spinoff that he wrote. And Ken Penders, I won't get too far into it. You can look up plenty of video essays on him on YouTube, but he's notorious for several things, one of which is disregarding and contradicting the video games, as well as other writers on the comics contributions. He's also known for creating hundreds of these characters who maybe appear once and then never again. Overuse of monologues. He's been known for some very interesting sexual and fetish themes in the franchise.
No, I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
I knew that was coming.
Also known for usually having some pretty poor artwork when he was in charge of the art, and a lot of unoriginal artwork. He's actually, like, traced over a lot of shit and tried to sell it as his own.
Oh, no.
Which brings us to his legal cases. So in 2000, so like I said, he worked with Archie Sonic for about until 2006 when he left. In 2009, he started copywriting various stories, characters, and artwork created for the Archie comic series. This led to a lawsuit with Archie Comics, and a whole bunch of shit went down. A bunch of crazy shit where, like, Archie couldn't prove that he didn't have the rights to these characters and whatnot. And basically what happened was they rebooted and retconned most of the Archie Sonic series in 2013, which removed many, if not all, of Pinder's characters from the Archie series, all of his original characters, which again was hundreds. Basically, this massive lore, good or bad, just this massive swath of characters was suddenly gone entirely. It also led to Sega sort of cracking down on the Archie comics, which actually these mandates that they put in place, which have been released online, many of them still apply to the IDW comics as well. So, like, anybody who makes comics for Sonic has to follow these rules, some of which include Sega-specific characters are not permitted familial relationships unless already established. And that's because Pinder's was notorious for making, like, massive family trees for every possible character in Sonic. Like, the Knuckles family line is, like, 50 plus characters on its own. There are so many Echidna characters, it's insane. Sonic also isn't allowed to lose, which is really weird. They can't ever show Sonic losing a fight. Sega-specific characters can't form romantic relationships. Sega-specific characters can't be killed off. And Sonic is not allowed to show excessive emotion, which, like, there are a bunch of weird...
Oh my God.
There are a bunch of weird, heavy mandates now, because Sega basically took... I think Sega didn't know that Archie comic... I think they sold the comic rights to Archie, like, back in the 90s, and were like, this is fine, let them do whatever, we'll make our little profit on the side. And they just didn't look at it until, like, all this legal stuff came up, and then they're like, whoa! This is what you've been doing with Sonic the Hedgehog this whole time? So, yeah, just this huge legal mess that's still having lasting impacts on the franchise. In 2011, Pinder's actually announced he's working on the Lara Sue Chronicles, which is based on one of his Echidna characters. It's supposedly still in development, but is clearly in, like, development hell. But anyway, enough about Pinder's, enough about his bullshit.
I was going to say, how long are you going to...
We're done with Pinder's. Now we got to talk about where we actually start moving into IDW, because after Pinder's left, Ian Flynn took over as the chief writer following Pinder's. He worked on the Archie series from Pinder's departure in 2006 until the cancellation of the comic in 2017, which was issue number 160. Ian Flynn's a really cool figure in the Sonic fandom. He's been a longtime creator of fan Sonic comics. He got his job actually by sending unsolicited proposals to Archie until he was basically given a job for annoying them so much. He wrote for various Sonic spin-offs and actually Archie's Mega Man series as well, which led to a crossover event between Sonic and Mega Man near the end of the Sonic comics run.
Ooh, the two blue boys crossing over.
The blue video game boys. He's the writer for the upcoming video game Sonic Frontiers. But in 2017, Sega and Archie Comics discontinued their partnership. Later that year, IDW announced a new series with Ian Flynn back at the head writer position, and several artists from the Archie series returning. In 2018, IDW Sonic premieres, which is much more closely based on the games. It's still its own canon. It basically picks up after the events of the game Sonic Forces, where Eggman's last attempt to take over the world has failed. He is missing, and Sonic and his friends are working to basically clean up the mess. All these Eggman robots are still running around wreaking havoc, and they're just trying to get rid of them all. Which brings us to where we're at here in issue number 1. So Tyler, where do you want to start talking about IDW's Sonic the Hedgehog?
See, that's a very interesting question, because I don't have much of anything of substance to say about these 12 issues in and of themselves.
Okay.
It's, not, I will say, I didn't dislike the experience. The first couple issues I had a hard time getting into, but like the arc of these issues kind of started to gear up, I'm like, yeah, I'm having fun. This is fun. This is cute. Mm-hmm. We talked about it behind the scenes. I don't know why I have this weird thing with some of this.
I know why you have this weird thing.
It's like all my life until you came into my life. Sonic was just this background, tertiary part of the pop culture lexicon. It's just like, oh, Sonic, he's still around. He's still doing stuff, I guess. People like Sonic. And then...
yeah, they do.
And then this whole world blew up with just learning about the franchise and everything that goes with it and how convoluted it is and how expansive it is and the fandom and Ken Penders and you, who loves every freaking bit of it. And... The spider's web that is Sonic the Hedgehog is something I still cannot come to terms with.
It is. It is a labyrinth.
So what I told you over text a couple days ago, it's like, I'm reading this officially licensed for all ages comic, and like my brain won't let me be like, this is just a for all ages comic. It's supposed to be PG at the most, cute, funny, with some nice, mostly non-violent action.
When's Sonic getting pregnant? Yes, I'm like, when do we get to see Shadow's exposed feet? Yes.
When's it gonna get horny? Where's the vor? Where's the mpreg? Where's the
inflation?
Gay sex, and everything. Like, when is it gonna get weird?
It just turns out that it's the internet and fandom that's horny. Sonic itself is just well, I won't say that because they made Rouge the Bat. And you can't deny she's just a woman with big tits with a bat face.
Yep. And they kept that bit of thirst in the comic.
Yeah, she's a staple of the franchise. You can't get rid of Rouge the Bat.
And honestly, from these 12 issues, one of my favorite characters.
She's fun. She's a fun character. I won't lie. I kind of as much as Erica freaks out every time she sees her, I kind of like Rouge the Bat. She's fun.
I'm like, and it's not just the tits. I think she has a good design. She stands out.
I think she's interesting, okay? I just think she's interesting.
I read Rouge for the articles.
Oh, no, but she's got a fun Catwoman thing going on where she's a jewel thief.
That's it. It's the Catwoman dynamic. I like the, sassy kind of... You don't know what side she's playing on dynamic.
Yeah, she's a good guy.
There's like Catwoman and Black Cat. And Anyway. Yeah, anyway.
You want to just maybe talk about which characters you really liked in this series?
Interestingly enough, the titular character, our Blue Boy, I kind of... He's like my least favorite character.
That's a good jumping off point, actually. A lot of fans of Sonic have problems with Sonic's characterization in the IDW comics because what they're going with, I think, here is a more mature, wiser, kinder Sonic. A Sonic who's been through all of the stuff in the games and the shows and whatnot, who's like learned from it, become a little more responsible, not the same sort of like... kind of a jerk, wisecracking, rebel that he used to be. A little more, he's a hero. And it's a little too clean for some fans. I personally like it. I personally like it because I feel I've grown up with Sonic, and I feel like this is a good place for him at this point in time. Like, this feels like the Sonic nearing the end of his journey. But I can see why, like, newer fans or people who are really tied to Sonic as, he needs to have a little more edge and needs to be a little more of a jerk. I can see why those kind of fans don't like him here. But you're a newer fan, so tell me.
Yeah, that's an interesting context you put it in, because the only context I didn't have expectations for him as a character when I read this. The only reference point I have for him as a character is hazy memories of the old games and the new movies. And Film Cow's amazing renditions. So I expected, kind of your basic traits, he's wisecracking and yada, yada, yada. But he's just kind of clean when it's not like I wanted Sonic to be edgy, but he's almost kind of like a Gary Stu.
A little bit of a Gary Stu.
I hate using those terms, especially for something like a Sonic comic.
For Sonic, yeah.
But he's just kind of perfect. Like, everybody loves him except for, the rivalries he has between, like, with Knuckles and Shadow, but there's not, like, any true animosity, at least that I picked up on in these 12 issues.
Yeah.
You got Amy who thirsts for him, Tails is his best bro, and, like, everybody's just kind of ingratiated to Sonic because, he's Sonic and he comes and he's the fastest thing alive and he wins and he's a smart aleck. And that's just kind of it.
Yeah.
So, like, everybody else, I was like, give me more Espio, that weird one-horned giant Neanderthal-browed chameleon thing. Give me more... Give me more Whisper, that new character who's got a cool cyberpunk thing going on.
I love Whisper and Tangle. Great new additions to the Sonic.
Yes, give me more Tangle. She's fun, but I'm like, Sonic I can take him or leave him in his own series.
I understand that, and I think that's a good point. Like I said, a lot of long-term fans have problems with him. I'm just in the position where I'm like, this is another version of Sonic. Like, we've seen many different iterations of Sonic, and I'm fine with this one being more of a traditional hero who's a little more clean edge, just because it almost feels like a celebration of his journey here. I understand why people would want him to be, still his sort of rebel self, sort of a hothead on edge, but I think it works here as a celebration of Sonic, but I could see why a newcomer to the franchise would definitely see it as, he's just dull.
To be fair, because I like looking at all the different layers of things, even though he's presented as kind of Gary Stu-ish, like he does have some characterization. He's kind of like you can't tie him down for too long. He doesn't want to stick around and be the leader. He's too cool, and he runs to the beat of his own pitter patter.
Absolutely.
But that's not really presented in these 12 issues. I keep having to preface as maybe a flaw that he might have to face later on or anything like that. It's just kind of like he's kind of like a wandering samurai.
Yeah, the next
basically
that is a good comparison. He is sort of a wandering hero. He doesn't stay in one place for long. Even with his friends, he doesn't stick around with them for long. He runs off. And
Goku-ish.
Yeah, that's a lot of people have made that comparison in the negative sense. But I think it's good. I like his character in this, but I understand why people have a problem with it. I think if you do read on into the next arc, which is the Metal Virus Saga, you'll see a little bit more of his character flaws, the trials he's facing. It's going to be a lot more of showing how his ideology here kind of can create more conflict, because that one's much more about actually, is Sonic in the right? And I think the next arc's really good. If you do read any more Sonic, the next arc's really good.
Okay, because I am intrigued. I'm not gonna lie.
Yay!
As much as I was kind of dreading doing this,
I'm going to drag you down into hell with me, Tyler.
I did end up enjoying myself, and I'm like, one of my last notes is like, might continue.
Tyler, I will go ahead and preface this. This is jumping the gun. The Metal Virus Saga, which is the next saga in this comic series, is the best Sonic storytelling ever done.
Wow.
It is
high praise indeed when you have people like Ken Penders at the helm for so long.
As much as I enjoy the films, as much as I enjoy many of the games, and don't get me wrong, the next saga has flaws, but overall, the next saga is a genuinely good story outside of the fact that it's Sonic. And it's a great story for being Sonic.
Okay. How many weird-ass Sonic fans will be screaming at you on the internet for saying that this is the best arc ever?
I'm sure plenty of people would be mad at me, especially fans of the Archie comics series. But there's good stuff in the Archie comics, especially once Ian Flynn took over. And what's interesting, God, we're not even talking about the current saga, but what's interesting about the next saga, the Metal Virus Saga, is that Ian Flynn originally intended it for the Archie comic series, but the Archie comic series was canceled before he could do it. So he got to kind of do it here instead.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to sound like a smug jerk or anything, but there's so much history and behind the scenes and lore. Like, not that something like Sonic can't have.
Sonic is a mass media empire, Tyler.
I know.
You don't understand how big this franchise is.
Yes, I know. That's my whole problem. And like, it's fat. I'm not looking down on it in that way. It's just such like, it's like finding out if fucking Mickey Mouse had this crazy fucking just, even though he's been around for decades, he's just still Mickey Mouse. It's just, he doesn't have this weird empire of converging timelines. And
I'm pretty sure he does. I'm sure there's somebody out there who could put together the Mickey Mouse lore for you.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be comparable to Sonic, though. Like,
maybe,
does Mickey have his own Ken Penders controversy? Like,
probably.
Does Mickey have his own Chris Chan controversy?
Oh God, let's not even get into Chris Chan. Let's get back on this saga.
Well, that's yes.
You mentioned the new characters, Tangle and Whisper. Let's talk about them.
Tangle was introduced in one of the earlier issues, which I'm kind of blanking on the specifics because they're kind of just
they're
Sonic
like,
shows up at a place with badniks, meets a new character, beats the badniks.
Yeah, it's a little bit of reintroducing the characters we already know as well as the new ones.
Where did this lemur come from? Because I already forgot her origin. Was she just part of one of the towns?
Yeah, we don't get an origin story for her yet. She's just a villager who lives here who's got a prehensile tail that can grab things and extend. And that's cool. I love that Sonic never bothers to actually explain like why the fuck he's super fast. Like, back in the 90s, they had these explanations, like these weird things like, oh, you know, Dr. Robotnik, before he turned evil, was experimenting on him to try and make him super smart and super fast, and like, they just completely gave up on that shit. They're just like, they're fucking anthropomorphic animals with superpowers. Just get over it.
She can use her tail like a weapon. She's kind of like Tigger in that way. She's kind of like Tigger in a lot of ways. She's, yeah. She's excitable. She's fun-loving, which made her stand out, I think, in the cast, at least for me. There's this funny little... I actually remembered a background gag. It's during one of the big battles toward the back end of the arc. I think Sonic and somebody else are having like the main conversation, and in the back you kind of like see her and the crocodile guy.
Yeah, she's like picking him up over a ledge, and she just kind of throws him down, and
and like and flinging him over, and like she lands, and like you could see that like she's like laughing her ass off.
Yeah, she's got her arms up like woo, and the Vector the crocodile's just laying face first on the ground.
Vector, that's his name.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's fun. She's cute. Thumbs up.
I like
from
her.
the newbie.
I like her. She's a lot of fun, like you said. She feels a lot like what Sonic would have been if he had been a bit cleaner at the start of his journey. Because, like, early Sonic stuff was, you know, he was edgy. He's got attitude, and he's a bit of a jerk, but he's the good guy, and he's out to save the day. And Tangle feels more like she's got that same thirst for adventure and, you know, seeing the world and doing cool things, but without that, like, I'm also an asshole a little bit. So she feels like a good addition to the cast because you've got the more mature Sonic here who's kind of like, hell yeah, you're cool too. Let's just hang out and do cool stuff together. She's just a fun character, like you said.
I think because these are in continuity with the games. The main characters that you associate with the franchise, Sonic, Tails, Amy, Knuckles, they end up being like the least interesting because that dynamic is already established.
Yeah, that's fair.
So you kind of have to tease that out backwards. So everybody I wasn't familiar with, I found to be the most entertaining.
That's actually interesting because a lot of long-term fans have problem with the IDW, not just with Sonic himself, but some of the characterizations with others. Amy here in particular, she's more mature. She takes on like more responsibility and leadership than she ever has in the games. Some people who are fans of the Archie comics say that she's trying to fill in a role for Sally Acorn, who is this big leader figure, big important character in the Archie comic.
Is she like the oddly
chipmunk.
Sexually drawn thing with the boots?
Yeah, with the boots and the jacket.
Okay.
Yeah. That was Sally Acorn, and she was a huge figure in the Archie Sonic, but people are saying that Amy's like replacing her, and I don't see that. I feel like it's another thing with Sonic where, you know, this is a more mature Amy who's grown up a bit, and yeah, she's still in love with Sonic, but that's not all she is anymore. She's not just a fangirl chasing him down. She's got her own interests and skills and whatnot, and it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. That's all I can say about that particular point. Tails really isn't in it that much. Kind of everything I know about the character is just here in this arc. Nothing much to that. Knuckles, who's usually my favorite simply because I like him because he's the cool red one who's usually grumpy. He kind of comes off as a little neurotic here, which I liked, because I'm familiar with his characterization being like the stoic warrior. I'm familiar with his characterization of being like the dumb himbo. But the way he reacts regarding the Chaos Emerald or the Master Emerald, the names of the emeralds always... The
Master Emerald is the one that he guards.
That's his thing. He guards the Master Emerald, and the way he kind of like acts about protecting it in this arc is kind of like he was kind of like, oh, I got to protect the Master Emerald. Yeah. And there's this funny little image that actually made me laugh out loud, where he jumping ahead here in this important plot.
Go for it.
But he pops it out.
I love that. I knew that he was the one you were talking about. I love that panel.
Pops it out of super mega ultra Sonic Shadow, whatever it's called, and like he just has this like face like as he's falling with it.
And then in the next one he's like gliding down and he's got this big shit-eating grin on
smirk on his face. Yeah. And then he lands and he's just like So that was a cute little variation from his character that I wasn't familiar with seeing. Who else did I like SBO. Don't really know much about him other than he's the spy.
Yeah.
But I like the one-horned purple people eater guy. He's really weird looking.
Yeah.
Like everybody has big heads and pronounced brows, but his head looks the biggest and his brow the most pronounced.
It's funny how some of the animal characters actually look like animals. Like Vector's obviously a crocodile, you know? It's not hard to see. Charmy's obviously big. Then you got fucking Espio who's like, I guess he's a chameleon. Like,
yeah, I didn't know. Like if they didn't title it as the characters appear on panel as SBO the chameleon spy or whatever, I'm like, what the fuck is he? What is this? Is it a unicorn? Is it a dragon?
I love the Chaotix. The Chaotix are fun.
I like the Chaotix, but fucking the Buzzy Bee,
Charmy,
he can get fucked. Charmy, yeah, Charmy can get fucked.
You've already got Charmy hate. It's so early for you to get Charmy hate. That's so.
Is that like a thing? Is Charmy?
People fucking hate Charmy because he's just an annoying little kid. People can't stand him. That's hilarious. That in 12 issues you've already established your hate for Charmy B.
Oh God, I'm like I've developed a trait of the fandom. Oh God,
I'm sucking you in, Tyler. You're one of us. One of us.
I'm being a bit hyperbolic. I don't particularly like him, but like it's not like I actively hate him, at least at the moment. He did make me laugh once, though, at the end, where Chaotix is coming in and is like, fuck you, pay me, to Amy.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they're like...
They're a detective agency.
Job.
Yeah.
They're on the make. Crocodile Man's like, Vector, you owe me this, and Espio's like, and this, and then the Charmy's like, yeah, we're gonna go out for expensive takeout or something like that. And I'm like, that's cute. And that was a cute joke. So Charmy has 1 point. He started at -1 and now he's at 0.
You know what's messed up, and this is going back to the Archie comics. Charmy in the Archie comics, they reintroduced the Chaotix well before, because they were in one of the earlier games. It was Knuckles Chaotix in the 90s. And then in the Archie comics, they reintroduced them before they were in any more of the games. So there wasn't really much character detail to go off of. And in the Archie comics, Charmy was a much more serious character. He was actually like the prince of this bee kingdom or something. Yeah, Archie's weird. But then once the games came out with like the Chaotix rejoined in Sonic Heroes, and like turns out he's just an annoying kid. In order for them to retcon Charmy B to match the games, they gave him severe brain damage to the point where he started acting like a child. That was their solution. Instead of just, retcon, hey, no, he's actually a kid. We'll just, rewrite him like that. No, we're going to give Charmy B severe brain damage and make him act like a kid.
Oh, man, oh, man.
Yeah, so, poor Charmy.
Well, now I feel bad for talking so much shit on him.
Who else?
Oh, also, Kickin' Ass or whatever their name is. They can also get fucked. They were annoying.
Kickin' Ass.
The two, like, Prepare for trouble. Make it double.
Rough
guys.
and tumble.
Oh, rough and tumble.
Yeah. Kick and ass. I prefer that. Yeah, they're new
So
characters.
kick and ass. I'm not. I feel kind of bad for being such a smart aleck, but that trope, if not done exceedingly well, just kind of doesn't do it for me. So they were kind of a drag.
Villain of the week, generic dumb bad guys. Yeah, that's fair.
One aspect that I liked and wish that they drug out longer was the Mr. Tinker plot with Eggman. Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay. I've seen this trope a million times before already, but this is interesting to do with Eggman. Yeah. Because I only know Eggman is the one-dimensional in the absolutely insane Jim Carrey version. So I started getting kind of like a Ice King from Adventure Time, sort of like, I hope he stays good reaction, but then they just take that right away.
I hope you do stick with this series because they do some really cool stuff with the Mr. Tinker line down the line.
Okay.
It like he's not Mr. Tinker anymore. That's over by the end of this. Spoiler, I guess. But yeah. There's some lasting impact of him being Mr. Tinker for a while.
Okay, I'm glad that Sir Ian Flynn is doing the legwork.
Ian Flynn's a good writer. He's got some limitations, especially with Sega breathing down his neck. But I think he understands Sonic really well. Arguably a character he doesn't understand, or perhaps that Sega's forcing him to write a way that the fandom really doesn't like, is Shadow the Hedgehog.
Okay.
What do you think of Shadow here?
From what I know of him, from what you've told me, I didn't have a reason to be like, that's not Shadow. Mm-hmm. So he was fine. I liked that he's dark, edgy Sonic, and that's about. I like that him and Rouge probably bang.
Oh, you're a Shadouge instead of a Nouge. You're not a Knuckles Rouge.
Oh God, shipping names, Jesus. Yeah, that's my take on Shadow.
This becomes more obvious in the next arc, and it's one of the big downfalls of the Metal Virus saga, unfortunately. But Shadow, prior to the game Shadow the Hedgehog, was not the super mega edgelord that we all know and sort of love, hate.
Oh, he's more of a tragic figure.
He was more of a tragic figure, a little more complicated and nuanced, which is, surprising for literally just, like you said, dark version of Sonic the Hedgehog. I won't say he wasn't edgy, because he was, but there was like a meaning to his edge, whereas post-game Shadow the Hedgehog, he's been written and depicted as the edgelord. And a lot of longtime Sonic fans are sad to see that that's just where Sega's keeping him now. He's a jerk. He's, overconfident. He's rude. He's cruel. And that's just unfortunately the way they're going with Shadow now. That's these characters have been around for over 20 plus years now, so you've got to switch things up in one form or another to keep it fresh. And unfortunately, this is just the way they're going now. Is that Shadow's the edgelord? And
well, that's an interesting point about how long they've been around, because these are legit comic book characters now. They're not just like spin-off. They're not just spin-off characters from a different form of media.
Yeah.
They're their own long-running comic characters, same as Batman or Spider-Man.
The longest-running comic series based on a video game, and the longest-running franchise-based comic series. Over 20 years of content.
So it's interesting because with a Sonic comic, it feels, and this is just my intuition, you correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm speaking from a place of novice and ignorance.
That's fair.
There are so many avenues to Sonic. There's your games, there's your comics, there's your fan art. So what kind of biases are people bringing into the different forms of media of Sonic that might unfairly hinder their reading of a character?
Yeah.
Does Shadow in the comic have to be like Shadow in the games for him to be a legitimate version of the character?
And if
he's different, does that necessarily make it bad?
Right. That's what a lot of the debate in the fandom is around, is that the fans of the Archie Sonic, because as weird as the Archie Sonic got, it was a long-running comic with an established fan base, and that people had certain expectations for these characters that got thrown out of whack once the Archie Sonic ended and we moved over to IDW, where they're trying to be a little closer. You know, it's still technically its own continuity, but it's trying to be closer to the game's lore. It's trying to be more accurate to how Sega wants these characters depicted. And that upset a lot of people because a lot of people were in love with the way the characters were in the pre-existing comics instead of, you know, how they were in the games. Yeah, it is interesting how Sonic as a franchise, this multimedia franchise, has created so many different forms of these characters and stories that there's not a single unified consensus of this is how this character should be.
Yeah. It's really interesting because say if I keep going with these comics and say Shadow becomes my favorite character, then for me, the IDW Sonic line is my Sonic. It's Sonic to me. Then if I talk to another fan whose Sonic is the games or the Archie run of the comic or something like that,
or the
how
TV show,
can Shadow be your favorite character? They fuck him up with it. It's interesting the kind of bias that just the Sonic you're exposed to becomes your baseline, becomes what you expect it to be.
Sonic is a great example of how varied and different a single franchise can be, because there's so many different forms of Sonic. And it's why whenever I hear all the like fan complaints about the movies or whatever, or this series, I take them with a big grain of salt because it's just different.
Oh man, who knew that the Sonic franchise has such fertile ground for discussion on everything from fandom.
I don't know if I've actually
creativity.
I don't think if I've explicitly said it yet. I said I love the Metal Virus Saga, but I think IDW in general is doing a great job with Sonic. Most of the Sonic characters. I do wish there are things I have problems with, Shadow in particular, but like I also understand that that's Sega, the corporation, trying to protect the way that they present these characters. The reins are not as loose as they were back in Archie Sonic days when you could write whatever where you could make a literal echidna Nazi story with actual, literal, real world quotes from World War II, recontextualized in the narrative of an echidna story.
This Ken Penders guy sounds absolutely fucking fascinating.
It's a rabbit hole.
I want to interview him. I want to be in a room with him and just be like, just lean forward and put my prayer hands up to my chin and be like, why Sonic?
Let me peek into your mind. Let me just get a glimpse in there so I can see the madness that drove you to where you are.
Why Sonic? Why is Sonic your thing? Why do you perceive why do you perceive yourself as the Tolkien of Sonic the Hedgehog?
I'll send you some like YouTube essays because there's so much wild shit about Ken Penders. But enough about him. We're focused on IDW Sonic. Yes. We're reading this story. Whisper. We didn't actually talk about Whisper.
First, before we get to Whisper, we've talked about half the characters that appear in this arc so far. Mm-hmm. Who do you think my favorite was?
You said you really liked Rouge earlier.
I did like Rouge, but she's not my favorite.
She's not your favorite.
It's somebody we haven't mentioned yet.
Is it a pre-existing character you already knew?
That I myself already knew?
Yeah, you didn't know about
I knew of them. I knew they were a character.
But so it wasn't like the main
That's about it. I knew like the name and vaguely, I guess, what they look like.
Gosh, I don't know. We've talked about a bunch of them so far. Was it Blaze, the cat?
No.
Silver, the Hedgehog?
Silver. It was Silver the Hedgehog.
You like Silver? Cool. That's great because he's from one of, if not the worst Sonic games in all of the
Of course.
Poor Silver. People love him as a character, though.
Okay.
And the game he comes from just sucks ass. It's unfortunate.
For me, I think I have a thing for the warrior from the future trope.
The Trunks Dragon Ball.
your Trunks, your Cable from X-Men, your Kyle Reese from Terminator. So like that whole trope, I guess I have a thing for, because he showed up. I'm like, oh, here's like that weird silver one that I've seen around. It's like, I'm a warrior from the future, and I come from a place of, and I've come to. I'm like, okay, you're cool, and you have psychic powers, which I like. So
and
I like you.
He's surprisingly optimistic and hopeful for someone from a dystopian future. And a lot of these stories, when they come back from the future, you know, they're all grimdark. It's like, I have to change things because everything's awful. And he has that, but he's much more optimistic, which I like because it kind of ties into the fact that, like, he came from the future because he believes he can make a change.
Yeah. Again, this is still kind of two-dimensional with characterizations at the moment, but for now, he's my favorite. Mostly, I guess, just because of the trope, and because if he was edgelordy, then there'd be just 3 too many edgelords in this comic book.
I like Silver too. He's a lot of fun. He's very different, especially with his design. You know, he's supposedly another hedgehog, but he's got that weird like front spike thing on him.
Also, I think what it is, everybody, from my memory at least, is just like hyper competent and you know, confident in their skills and in their skill set. Yeah. Whereas with Silver, he feels a bit more grounded and a bit more relatable, because his you see him kind of struggle with his psychic powers a bit. Yeah. So he feels a bit more real than this psychic future hedgehog character feels a bit more real than the other crazy animal characters. I really do hope you read the Metal Virus Saga, because we do get to see more failures on our hero's end. Fuck. Like, you should have just said read the first 24 issues. Well, the Metal Virus Saga is longer. It's longer than 12 issues. Yeah, it's pretty big, because it was like shit. It's basically Ian Flynn's magnum opus for Sonic. Wow. Yeah. Well, that's cool, because I did like Metal Sonic here. He's got that, you know, I keep a lot of tropes in these comics that I like, actually. Neo Metal Sonic let's talk about Neo Metal Sonic, our big villain here. So we haven't talked much about the plot itself. First 4 issues is Sonic basically running around, saving people, running into old friends, and everybody's like, hey, these robots are, you know, getting organized again. Maybe Eggman's coming back. Next 4 issues is them discovering that, like, no, Eggman's not back. He's lost his memory, and yet now he's this Mr. Tinker guy. He lives in a village and just, you know, does nice things for the villagers, makes toys and contraptions and whatnot, and fixes things. And they, you know, it's them figuring out what to do with him, because it's like, should we try and punish him for his past crimes, or should we just let him live a happy life with a second chance? There's a nerd ethics for you if you didn't pick up on that. Yeah, I know. Like, the idea of redemption and second chances, that's a big one. We could talk about the Mr. Tinker question right now if you want. Yeah, I meant to put the Mr. Tinker thing in my notes for nerd ethics. Let's do it. For some reason I forgot. Oh, you want to go on the tangent now? Let's do it now. Was Sonic right to give Mr. Tinker / Eggman a second chance? Okay. I like the moral quandary that this poses. They don't really dwell on it, of course. But, you know, there's was it Shadow? I can't even remember who he was already. It was Shadow, right? It was Shadow. No, okay. How responsible in this scenario, if somebody could legitimately have their memory wiped or become a different person mentally through some sort of circumstance, how responsible should they be for past atrocities or bad actions? Yeah. And what's the moral societal obligation for that? Yeah. So I don't know how much actual like death and subjugation there is by the hands of Eggman. I don't know how dark it gets in this continuity. Shown in throughout the games. I can't speak for the Archie series. I know there's probably tons of people that died in the Archie series because that's a weirdly dark, you know, continuity. In the games, I don't know if it's ever explicitly stated if Eggman's killed somebody, but he's definitely done some shit that had to result in at least a few deaths. He's broken planets apart. He's blown up the moon. He's done shit that, like, definitely had to kill a few people. Okay, so we're saying in the text, no explicit death, but subtextually. None shown. None shown. Okay. This kind of stuff is always fun to, differentiate your characters philosophically.
Mm-hmm.
Because, the whole point of it is like, we don't know who's right. And I guess I'll take a little bit back of what I said about Sonic being my least favorite, because in this point in the story, I think this highlights some of his personality more.
Yeah.
Where he's so good-natured and good-hearted, and even though he's like, yeah, I kick robot ass, like, he wants to genuinely believe that Mr. Tinker is who Eggman is now, and then Eggman's not coming back. And he's like, I trust him. He's fine. He doesn't have that cynicism in him of like, it's all just a goddamn trick. He's pulling something. That's
he's not
Shadow's
stupid
job.
because he does suspect Eggman for a long time. For the first,
he doesn't instantly believe it.
Yeah.
But
it takes him some, he does some interrogating, he does some watching and observing, but eventually he comes to the realization that, like, this isn't Eggman anymore. This is a different person who has the opportunity to do some good.
Yeah, so that was a little bit more insight into Sonic's character that I guess I kind of failed to make mention earlier.
That's also something that they explore again in later arcs, like this idea of Sonic giving terrible people like Dr. Eggman or even Metal Sonic at the end of this story second chances, too many second chances. That's a recurring theme throughout the IDW series, is like, how many second chances are you going to give the bad guys?
Yeah. At what point is compassion and the belief in rehabilitation irresponsible?
Yeah.
At what point does that stance, as altruistic as you want to think it is, just make it about yourself and not the altruism you purport it as? And that's where Shadow's pragmatism comes in. So it's an interesting it's an interesting question.
And I'll say
to tackle
Sonic's refusal to capture or arrest Eggman here directly leads to the events of the next saga, the Metal Virus saga.
Well, yeah, because at the end, that duck character...
platypus, but yeah.
She's a platypus?
He's a platypus, yeah.
Okay. Maybe I wasn't paying as much as a speed line or hard line or something line. Or
I really like him, and I should know his name. Oh, shit.
Oh, it's a dude? I thought it was a woman.
It's a dude.
Oh, they look the feminine coded to me.
A little feminine.
Yeah.
Dr. Quackmeyer? No.
Dr. Quackenstein.
DuckTales character?
I'm confused.
Starline. Starline.
Okay.
But continue.
I thought, and I probably might have read it wrong because I was reading issues between work and I was kind of harried.
Yeah.
Mr. Tinker gets his Eggman memories back from touching Metal Sonic, or was it the thing that the platypus touched him?
No, it wasn't touching Metal Sonic. It was the memory of Metal Sonic. And the sort of... What's implied is that Eggman actually has genuine affection for Metal Sonic as his greatest creation. Even though he's diabolical, it's I love this evil, terrible thing that I've made to kill Sonic. It's still supposedly genuine affection, and that connected with his Mr. Tinker personality of, loving to tinker around with things and whatnot. So
wow, I can't believe I misinterpreted a plot point in a Sonic.
It's not explicitly made. It is sort of you have to read the subtext there of, he sees Metal Sonic. He's like, oh, you poor thing. Who would have done this to you? And then he has the memory of him repairing Metal Sonic in a fight with Sonic in the past. Okay.
I thought it was an inadvertent or possibly advertent sort of memory transfer from Metal Sonic to Eggman.
No, it was just these things connected in his mind, the dots connected.
Okay, I like that better.
Yeah.
I like that much better. Although it ruins the Mr. Tinker thing that I was into. But as you say, it gets quite epic into the next arc.
Yeah. Let's talk about Neo Metal Sonic and his big battle here towards the end.
I like artificial beings created that have to grapple with their purpose and their meaning and their identity and fight their programming. So yeah, I actually really like Metal Sonic.
Metal Sonic's awesome in all of his iterations.
Some of the artwork in some of these later issues kick ass.
Yeah,
and they draw Metal Sonic really badass and intimidating looking.
Neo's design where it's like these huge, sharp, almost like starfish-shaped spikes sticking off of him, is so cool and intimidating. He looks just different. Like, I like the original Metal Sonic design where it's just like, you know, a robot version of Sonic, but
Potbelly and all.
Yeah, Potbelly and all with his little jet engine in the middle. Love it. But like the Neo design is just different enough to be like, now he's a little more maniacal and a little more, you know, he's not just trying to be Sonic, he's trying to be the better, like, more evil version of Sonic.
Design-wise, I really appreciate him because it walks that line where all the other characters are so, like, colorful and cutesy and cartoony, whereas Metal Sonic looks generally intimidating and scary, but not to the point where you feel like they're trying to overdo it.
Right, he fits. He doesn't he doesn't stand out of this world. He feels like a genuine threat in this world of colorful cartoon characters.
Yeah, his juxtaposition, you know, he's all shiny and sharp and angular.
But he's got the black eyes with the
rounded
red. Yeah.
The rounded and puffy meat characters.
It's just meat. It's just meat.
So just meat. They genuinely look like they can be stabbed and poked and exploded by Metal Sonic if they get too close. And he turns into like a Digimon form there towards the end. So that's cool.
Metal Overlord, the big weird metal dragon from Sonic Heroes.
He just keeps digivolving and it's ridiculous.
I lost my shit when he used his super form. That's never happened before. We've never seen...
I figured. I'm like, I bet this is a big deal.
We have never seen a super version of Metal Sonic, especially not Metal Neo Sonic. Like, that was insane that they did that.
So, a good moment of fan service. I take it.
Yeah. There's lots of references and stuff to the games in this that I appreciate, but none of them are... it's hard for me to say because I'm a longtime Sonic fan, but I don't feel that you have to know the games in order to understand what's happening here. It helps contextualize who these characters are and like where they are in their stories, but I didn't feel like you had to be a fan of the games in order to understand the story being told here. What did you think as a new fan?
I think I kind of made mention of it earlier. I wasn't expecting it to reference as much past events as it did. I wasn't like lost or anything at any point in the story, but it kept mentioning past events and lore, whereas it was a bit more lore heavy in the background than I expected it to be. To the point where I'm like, well, I kind of wish I, you know, read and/or played or whatever the hell I had to do that story before this one. Yeah. But it's still, I mean, it's still pretty accessible. It's like any other comic, you know. You can jump in at any point, and it references a half dozen other shit.
Except for the Archie series. The Archie series is the densest thing I've ever seen, and if you don't start,
sounds like
if you don't start at issue 1, you are lost.
Because honestly, because
Ian Flynn did his best to sort of do a soft reboot around when he came in, but that series is so goddamn lore heavy. It's impossible.
That's what put me off reading Sonic comics in the first place. When the first Sonic movie came out and we had such a fun time, I'm like, and like you rant and rave about it all the time, and it's got this great meme culture, or not great meme culture, depending on where you are.
It's got a strong meme culture.
I'm like, this seems like a fun little world to get into. I like comics, so I'll try to read the comics. I'm not going to play the games. I'm not much of a gamer, so I'll start there. And I wasn't going to start from number 1 because that's a lot of shit to catch up on. So I'm like, you know, Google, where's the best place to start in the Archie series? And it's like, start when Ian Flynn took over. I'm like, okay. So I start reading those, and like, I'm just like,
he did what he could.
What the fuck is this?
Bless his soul, he did what he could.
This isn't a good jumping on point at all. This is nonsense. This is gibberish. I hate Sonic. I regret doing this.
Ian Flynn had to take over a decade's worth of lore and try and make it into something comprehensible, and it took him a minute. I won't lie, it took him a minute.
Like, I legit got mad. I'm like, the whole fandom said, like, if you want to get into it and you don't want to start from the beginning, jump in at the Ian Flynn point, and like, it's been so fucking dense and lore heavy, and like I can't keep up with the goddamn thing. This is a Sonic comic. I shouldn't be feeling this way.
I shouldn't be lost. I shouldn't be confused. This is for children.
I rage quit the Sonic comic because I was too stupid for it.
That's amazing.
Like, God damn it. Give me the convoluted X-Men history and chronology over this any goddamn day.
One thing I love, and this is only something that, like, you'll know if you are, like, a long-term fan of the games and stuff, is that they multiple times use song lyrics from the Sonic games as dialogue.
Oh no!
It's hilarious and awesome. There's when the like Knuckles and Sonic are first approaching Neo Metal Sonic when he's like on top of the Master Emerald. Neo Metal says, "One by one, they'll all become a black mark on the floor." That's straight ripped from one of the songs.
Oh god! I remember that. I'm like, ooh, that was kind of a heavy metal line.
Yeah,
there.
one by one, they'll all become a black mark on the floor.
Jesus Christ.
That's actually from the game where he was the main villain too, for Sonic Heroes. Neo Metal was it's awesome.
I can't. Every like 15 minutes you drop some new fucking nugget on my head and it's just like
awesome. It's awesome.
I'm like, where do I go from there?
The well goes deep.
Like, what do I do with that information? Oh my god. Oh, we didn't circle back around to Whisper.
Yeah. I love Whisper.
The reason I wanted to backtrack to my favorite character whose name I already for Silver is because they're connected, but in a way that I don't understand yet because we haven't been told yet. Like,
so in the game,
did she follow him back in time?
No. So in the game Sonic Forces, which precedes this story, I haven't played it, but the basic premise is Eggman finally succeeds in taking over the world. Sonic's captured for a long time, and basically all of our heroes become a resistance force against him for a while. The lore with Whisper is like during that time, she wasn't actually a member of the resistance, but she would show up on the battlefield, save resistance members, and then vanish without a trace.
Oh, okay.
So she was like a secret angel, basically looking out for everybody. And we learn more of her background. She and Tangle actually get their own mini-series down the line, which is very cute, does a great job of establishing their duo dynamic, and gives us her backstory and really fleshes out her character.
Oh, god damn it.
Listen, you're at the starting point of a long-running series.
That's what I'm saying, because I know that I'm in too deep, because when you said that they have a spin-off miniseries, my immediate thought was, ooh!
Yes! I got you, bitch! I got you! I got him on the hook, I'm reeling him in! This is for Sonic, motherfucker!
No!
You're mine!
I can't do it! There's too much other things I need to get into, and I can't be Sonic.
Tyler, you're staring into the abyss. You have to go all the way. If you walk back now, you'll never know how deep the wellspring goes.
I don't know if I have the strength. I don't know if I can do it. I'm gonna be like fucking Frodo in Return of the King, just wasted, can't fucking throw the ring in the goddamn volcano
Tyler,
once he gets there.
You've swam too far down now. You can't go back up. You'll drown. You've got
like my evil Samwise Gamgee.
You've got to keep going.
You're Samwise by way of Gollum.
Oh. I love it.
Do it, masters.
I love it.
Read the Sonics. Read my precious Sonics comics.
Out of all of the Sonic franchise stuff that exists, I genuinely, this isn't me, trolling you. I genuinely think that you would like this comic series the best because it has enough genuinely good storytelling and silly, weird stuff in it that you'll latch onto it without having the mind break that you've had in other Sonic stuff that I've shown you.
Yeah. I mean, so far, you're right, because the mind break was happening in the beginning, and then I got
you had to get over your previous mind breaks to get into this one. I get it.
Just of all the things to do this to me, why is it Sonic?
I don't know, man.
He's just like in the before times. He was just like Tony the Tiger or Toucan Sam. He was a mascot. He wasn't this.
He was Tyler. Your eyes are being opened to the thing that has always been.
Is this what it's like to drop acid? Like, is dropping acid like getting into the
It's Sonic like getting into Sonic, yes. Join me, Tyler.
Oh my god. Oh.
I'm gonna
honestly, like I've said it before, if I had the time, if I wasn't a working adult and I could do this full time, I would, just for experimentation's sake, like do a deep dive Sonic history lore podcast.
Dude,
with you.
I would absolutely do a secondary podcast exclusively on Sonic shit.
I know you would.
You set the day and time, we'll do that. I don't care if it's a mini series that we run, we'll do the damn thing.
You might have to get a different co-host because, like,
oh god,
I might stick with this one comic series, but I can't tell you that I could take time away from the other things in my life to give it to this goddamn franchise.
Okay, if you say so.
Just get, your other friends to do it. Who are mostly my friends too.
I know. Nobody I know is into Sonic as much as I am.
Isaac doesn't have any friends.
I don't have any Sonic friends. You can't be a fan of Sonic and have friends.
You can drag this into. You don't have a sibling you can drag this into.
I do have a sibling. They're not as big into Sonic as I am. Nobody I know is as big into Sonic as I am.
Your siblings, so you can browbeat one of them into doing it.
I don't know if I want to drag a family member into this.
You don't know if you want to expose that part of yourself.
I don't know if I want that
family.
dark piece of me shown to a blood relative. Oh,
I don't want you. I just don't want you to look at me any different. Isaac, you've changed. I didn't know you were like this. Points to your wall of Sonic fan art. With your OC character in the center.
Black-hearted evil, brave-hearted hero. I am all I am. That's the theme song to Shadow the Hedgehog.
God, next time I come over to your house, you're gonna be like, you're finally gonna feel comfortable and be like, okay, so this is my 200,000 word fanfic that I've been writing for Sonic, starring OC Isaac the Hedgehog.
Tyler, if I had a 200,000 word Sonic the Hedgehog fanfic, you goddamn bet your ass you'd already know about it. I would not have shut up about the fucking thing. Oh,
it's never too late to cross over Sonic into your Persona fic.
The Persona fic's over. I finished it finally.
Art is never finished. My friend, it is merely abandoned.
You know what fucking blows my mind? Do you know how
my striking good looks?
Yes, absolutely. But do you know how much Sherlock? I was reading a book on fan fiction because Erica and I are planning an episode for that down the line. There are only 600,000 words of canonical Sherlock Holmes stories that Arthur Conan Doyle wrote.
Yeah, they're mostly short fiction. Yeah, only a few novels.
Tyler, 600,000. I wrote over a third of the Sherlock Holmes canon in a year for a goddamn Persona 5 fanfiction.
That's kind of wild.
The entirety of his canonical...
over. Next time somebody just like tries to fucking knock you down for being a fanfic writer, just be like, good sir, do you know that you speak to a man who's written more words than Sir Arthur Conan Doyle?
It's just
be mindful of whom you speak.
Not a real writer, my ass.
My Persona 5 fanfic has over 10 million notes. How many notes does freaking Conan Doyle have?
I don't see Arthur Conan Doyle on the fucking archive of their own.
I spit on Conan Doyle.
I piss on his grave. I've just pissed off a lot of Holmesian. There's a lot of Sherlock Holmes fic out there.
They're
arguably like the first.
Yeah, they're like one of the first fan bases because there was outrage like back in the
when he was
the Stone Ages when he said like he was going to retire the character.
Yeah, when he
got like
Holmes.
Angry, garumphing letters like, "How dare you, you."
Fascinating.
Scallywag.
We're going to save this for the fanfic episode. Let's get back to Sonic.
Fuck. What else is
What else is there to say? We've talked about most of the characters, I think.
Yeah, and we pretty much cover the story because it's pretty simple.
It's pretty simple. Good versus evil. Metal Sonic is trying to basically fill in for Eggman while Eggman's, out of the picture at the moment. Trying to take over the world using the Master Emerald, all the generic bad guy stuff. Big fun action. I really like how they draw Sonic. There's multiple different artists, and each of them have their own style, but I really like the different ways that they convey Sonic's speed. Sometimes they'll do like just a dust trail behind him. Sometimes he'll actually have like a blue line like trailing behind him. Sometimes they'll have full-on sonic booms like exploding in his wake. Like there's a lot of physicality for how they draw how fast Sonic is.
I will say, in the comic's favor, usually when a title is rotating artists every other issue, it's a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah.
It can easily break immersion in the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a constant thorn in the butts of comic readers. But as much as the art rotates in these 12 issues, at least, like it was never bad. It was always good.
It's never jarring.
It never took me out.
Yeah. It's never to the point where like you feel like this is a different tone of story. The story maintains the tone it's going for. It's just different interpretations of it.
And I should have written down the artist's name, but
there's so many.
Stupid me. I just wrote art in issue 7 kicks ass, and I didn't think to write down the artist of issue 7.
Let me look. I might have it here because I've got the comic right next to me. Issue number 7 would have been Tracy Yardley.
Okay, props to Tracy Yardley because your art kicks ass.
Yeah, I think she was one of the ones that came over from Archie Sonic. A lot of the team of Archie Sonic actually came over to the IDW comic, which is awesome, just for the industry, that even though there was that corporate fallout and all the legal shenanigans, like the actual creators themselves managed to keep writing for the series and the character.
Man, the fucking dedication Sonic creators have for the freaking thing.
Ian Flynn loves Sonic. That dude loves and understands Sonic in a way that I don't think any other fan on Earth does. Tyson Hess, the guy who did all of the cover art for all of these issues, and actually
also a lot of awesome cover art.
Yeah, he also did the designs. He designed Tangle and Whisper. He's the guy who redesigned Sonic for the movie after that horrific original first design. He was the guy who he saved the Sonic movie, basically.
Oh no, I have to correct you. The artist for issue 7 was not who you previously said it was.
Oh, was it not?
It was Adam Bryce Thomas.
Oh, that's weird.
Well, sorry, person who we just gave you credit for. We take it back. Redacted.
Tracy Yardley's good too. I don't know why the thing I have here is wrong, because I'm looking at like the collected. I don't know. That's weird. Anyway,
you have a special misprint that goes for $1,000 online.
Yeah, that or somebody needs fired for fucking miscrediting somebody. Oh, I was looking at the wrong one. Sorry. You said issue 7, didn't you?
Yep.
I was looking at somebody else. Yeah, there's Adam Bryce Thomas. Sorry, that's why.
Do they have an Insta? Because it'd be fun to follow their art on an Insta.
I'm sure they do. What else to say about this first saga? I don't know if there's much else to say.
Not really. Not for me. I mean, we can go off on a bunch of tangents if you want. But
do you have one in mind?
No. I mean, we just riff. We riff. But as far as this 12 issues of the IDW comic, I had fun. I enjoyed it.
Good.
I didn't want to bash my head against the wall every panel, so that was good.
Good. Let's get some review going. We haven't done review in a little while.
All right.
Overall, between these, like on Goodreads, they're broken up between the volumes, so like each 4 issues is a volume. Overall, between the 3 volumes that make up this first 12 issues, it's got a 4.33 out of 5. People really like this, or at least more. A lot of IDW Sonic fans probably like it, and then nobody else bothered to make a review. There were a few detractors, though. First off, there's Stepper of the Long Earth. Interesting name.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, Stepper of the Long Earth says, look, it isn't the old Sonic, and it isn't new Sonic either. It's like boring Sonic from the games made into comic format. The art is inconsistent. The writing is a bit flat. I'm sorry, Ian, but without all the nice stories cooking up in the background and both hands tied up with the mandates about what you can't do, plus characters not being allowed to really change, the stuff that makes a good narrative and a compelling reason to keep reading a comic book with an interesting and ever-changing status quo, I don't see how he can manage a tenth of the old stuff. 3 out of 5 stars. So they're basically saying...
Jesus, that was brutal.
Yeah. It was brutal for a 3 out of 5 stars?
I know. I'm like, oh man, I'm waiting for the 0.5 stars.
Yeah.
Do not recommend.
So their issue is that it's not Archie Sonic. And honestly, I get this criticism. This is very different from Archie Sonic. For better. But it's one thing to criticize him for the mandates that Saga's put on him, because that's fair. Anytime a company gets too meddling into a creator's work, you're gonna see that effect. I would not say that a fault of this is that it's not got enough background lore to go on.
Especially not from my layman's eyes. That's for sure.
Yeah, that was not Archie Sonic's greatest point. There's some people devoted to that stuff, but
I really don't mean to sound like I'm condescending to the fan base, but getting so hecked up because the Archie tone or lore isn't being represented in the way you want it just sounds so funny to me. You're getting angry because it's not
the complicated web that it once was.
I'm like, it's Sonic. You just enjoy the blue guy with the attitude and the funny furries, basically.
Speaking of, this one's from Matisse. Matisse says, I'm coming to understand why so much of cartoonist Twitter loves Sonic as a franchise. The character designs and their ability to communicate so much feeling and motion are unparalleled. 5 out of 5 stars. Yeah, I agree that, as weird as Sonic designs can get, they are really good at expressing emotion and action that can be, intense at times, but never so intense that they break from the silly, cartoony nature. What do you think?
I hadn't really put much thought into it, to be honest, until just now, so I don't have anything intelligent to say other than... Yeah, I guess I can agree.
Well, the action in this series, did you think it was good, actually good action, or just all silly cartoony camp?
I would say there were a few times where the action felt a little too muddy as far as what's happening to who. Mm-hmm. But 80-90% of the time, I thought it flowed really well. I thought it captured a really good dynamic sense of motion. The character designs themselves are simple enough to be charming, but also complicated enough to really get a lot of movement or expression out of them when need be. Yeah. And they all have profiles that are recognizable. If you read it long enough, and you black out Sonic and Silver and somebody else, you can, who's that Pokemon them? They have recognizable silhouettes.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I like the designs, except for Charmy, except for stupid fucking Charmy.
Charmy's just a bee. There's not a problem with the design. It's the character.
He's literally the honeybee from Cheerios.
It kind of is
with a bit more gear. That's who he is visually.
Boy, poor Charmy. Rach says, I really love Whisper and how everyone on the team is just so respectful and understanding of her desire for distance. Sonic respects her boundaries, and it's just great to see. A good way for younger readers to learn how people may be weird and different from you, but that doesn't make them bad in any way. Could be a great teaching moment about boundaries if reading with kiddos. 4 out of 5 stars. So they were hung up on point. Whisper. I really like Whisper's characterization and the way that the others interact with her. Because, She doesn't talk. She whispers, obviously. Very, very rarely talks. Is uncomfortable around people, and it's not seen as a character flaw or a shortcoming. It's just part of who she is, and everybody treats it well.
Yeah, that's a perspective I didn't think about. Yeah, that's a good point. Mm-hmm. She kind of has Batgirl vibes. Not Barbara Gordon Batgirl, but Cassandra Cain Batgirl, who started off as a mute. She didn't talk.
Yeah.
And then she slowly learns to talk and open up and speak. So she talks now, but it's very direct and like clipped. So
I also like
definitely got a Batgirl thing going on.
I also like because Whisper has a mask that she usually wears, but sometimes we see her without it. I like that they only have her open her eyes when she's like emotionally disturbed. I think that's a really good way to convey like character emotion, is that there's one specific thing she does that shows when she's upset. Because most of the time her eyes are closed or behind the mask and you can't tell what she's seeing or doing. But whenever she opens her eyes, it's always like she's worried, she's anxious, something's going on.
Another good point I didn't consider. Also, do you think maybe Entrapta was an inspiration for her?
For Whisper?
At least visually?
How so?
You know, like,
she does have the mask, I guess.
She's got like the mask and like they're not... They don't look like, but like kind of the way like Whisper holds her body kind of reminded me of the way Entrapta holds herself.
Entrapta's much more high energy, though. I think it's I don't really see the comparison.
I got shades of maybe Entrapta inspiration. Is all. But you know, people make weird connections to things all the time. So
last review, Mar says, "Fuck yeah, Sonic!" 5 out of 5 stars. Mar is secretly me. I
was going to say, so you put your own review in this review because you're goddamn hack. You're hack for Sonic.
That's actually just Mar, but I love you, Mar. You're right. So, fuck yeah, Sonic. Forever and always.
Oh, Mar on Earth 1702 is Isaac. That's...
Okay. Do you have any recommendations based on this series?
Jesus. No. I didn't even... no.
Okay. I'm
just going to have to skip that one.
I'm going to skip it because we've already done 2 Sonic reviews this year, and I've given tons of recommendations, excuse me, based on that. But yeah, the stuff I mentioned, just keep reading. If you liked this, just keep reading. There's more Sonic IDW comics out there, and they're all really good. I really enjoy them. Let's rate the damn thing and be done with it, then.
Oh, no, sir.
Oh, God. Really?
You've forgotten.
Oh, no.
The best segment.
Oh, no.
Is it horny?
Why?
What can of worms have I pried open with my ragged fingernails just now?
Okay, Tyler. We've got to distinguish, because we've done this exact thing every time we've done Is It Horny? We've got to distinguish between is it horny or are people horny for it? There is a difference.
Well, I can say from the knowledge and exposure that I have had, people are horny for it, but...
Absolutely.
But the franchise does cater to it. To an extent. Faux show.
Where in particular in this have you seen it cater? Aside from Rouge's big old bitties.
I was gonna say, aside from my second favorite character, Rouge.
And her like constant shadowy-eyed smirk. Oh my God, I'm looking at her eyes right now. She's got such fuck eyes all the time. Always half-lidded, heavy makeup. She's crossed her arms and holding her breasts up in this panel. Oh God.
I don't... Okay, aside from Rouge. I don't know if this is the world darkening my mind. If this is just what the world has done to me, or if it's actual coding. But some of the way the characters are drawn, like some of their posture, the way they carry themselves, conveys like a lot of like fan arty, like, oh, I'm gonna draw this character, you know, kind of innocently flirty, or I'm gonna draw this character kind of looking a little coy. Like, I don't know if that's purposeful.
Characters
or if
having emotions is not the internet horny.
Like, I think warping my mind.
I think your mind's been warped, my friend. Characters having emotions and expressing them is not the same thing as them being horny for each other.
When you put it that way, you make an excellent point.
Amy Rose simping for Sonic is always just like a cute little girl crush that she's got on him. It's never like, oh, Sonic, fuck my pink pussy. It's never like...
You're absolutely right, and like I know this intellectually, but because
Tyler,
everything I've seen, Like, I've seen more unofficial fan content of Sonic than I ever have any official.
I've got to ask you something now, Tyler, and this is gonna hurt.
I don't know.
Do you think maybe this is your perception of the Sonic characters? Is that you're seeing them and you're like, they're horny?
I knew you were gonna.
Are you horny for Sonic, Tyler? Because if you've gotten there, then you're in it now, boy. You're down. No. You're in the hedgehog hole.
No. If I could say that I can have been horny for maybe not particularly 100% humanoid characters before, but I am not at the depraved level where I am now finding Sonic characters attractive.
Except for Rouge, because my God, look at Rouge.
Except for Rouge. Yeah,
it's literally just a human woman with a bat face. It's just a human woman with a bat face and wings.
If anybody's listening to this who is a novice like myself, if you've ever seen the show Mad Men and know the character Joan, the impossibly busty, hourglass figured character of Joan, played by Christina Hendricks, that is Rouge, but with little wings. Just put little wings on Joan, and that is Rouge the Bat.
She has human toned skin. Like the only fur on her body is on her face. The rest is just human toned skin.
Which actually, this very uncomfortable conversation has actually reminded me of a point I wanted to make earlier when we were talking about Rouge. Mm-hmm. Is the potential for character depth between her and Shadow that I don't know if we've gotten previously or will get in the future. Mm-hmm. But the little bit of dynamic that they established in this arc where they're a team, and like she's kind of the only one in his orbit.
Yeah,
I like the potential there for like her being the one that he could be vulnerable with, and her being the one that him being the one that she can be vulnerable with, and they just kind of have that connection where they only keep each other close, but everybody else at a distance. Like that's just the shit I'm thinking about and theorizing about that I want to see. I don't know if that has happened or will happen.
There are elements of that more in the older games, like with Shadow, in Sonic Adventure 2. Sonic Heroes, even in Sonic 06, as bad as that game was, it did have a lot of good Shadow characterization and Rouge characterization showing their relationship with one another, because they are, obviously there's never been like explicit romantic interest between them, but there is an obvious dynamic of, you know, we both kind of exist on this morally gray spectrum in comparison to the, you know, squeaky clean heroes. We understand that it's not always easy to be the character that everybody distrusts and it points to as, you know, the bad guy, edgy figure. We both kind of understand that there are things that we'll have to do that the good guys won't, and things have to get done. So there is a history of good relationship between Shadow and Rouge that's very interesting in the games, and it does get expanded on a bit more in these comics. I would definitely say that's one of these comic shortcomings, though, is the characterization of Shadow, not Rouge herself, but in their dynamic, is that we don't see enough of it, and what we do doesn't really stack up to some of their older stuff that we've seen before.
Okay. Disappointing.
Yeah. Well, but don't worry.
I have my headcanon.
Tyler, don't worry. You've picked a side now in the great war between Shadow and Rouge versus Knuckles and Rouge. So I'm glad you've set your shipping war side.
Did they? Well, I didn't get enough between Knuckles and Rouge to know that was a thing.
Knuckles and Rouge's whole thing is that like Knuckles guards the Master Emerald, and Rouge is a jewel thief who absolutely wants to steal the Master Emerald.
There's another fucking obvious thing that completely
sort of a Batman Catwoman.
I know she was ribbing him. She was like ribbing him there at the end about like, oh, fucking loser guarding his rock. But I should have put two and two together. Thief?
Yeah.
Guy who guards a giant fucking jewel. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
But you've picked a side in this Sonic shipping war, so I've got you, bitch.
I mean, it's not set yet, just at the moment. I didn't necessarily say I wanted it to be romantic either.
It's true. You do, though.
Because, I like me an antagonistic trope that turns into unrequited love.
You love an enemies to lovers.
Oh, I love an enemies to lovers. It's absolutely the best.
Oh, God. So does that wrap up Is It Horny? Did that answer it?
Yeah. I don't think we need to go down that dark road right now.
No deeper. Okay, let's rate the damn thing and be done with it.
Oh, wait. What the fuck are wisps and wispons? Like,
okay, yeah. This is one of the things that's just like, if you don't know the games, it doesn't give you enough details. In one of the games, I think it's Sonic Colors, they're basically an alien race that Eggman's trying to take over because they've got superpowers, basically, and you can harness them and use their powers for whatever the fuck. In later installments, they start using them as ways to actually power weapons. So that's basically what they are. All those weapons that everybody was using throughout this that had, like, lasers and lights and stuff, like, shining off them, like Whisper's weapon.
okay.
They're all powered by these wisps. The Wispon is just a wisp weapon. So, yeah,
okay. I'm like,
that's what it is.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a pun. It's just a wisp weapon. That's what a Wispon is. Wisps are aliens with superpowers. Wispons are the weapons based on them.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know, because they were like a really weird part that I'm like, they're these little sentient things, but like people use them as like energy and okay.
They're just,
that's weird.
Here's something you're going to find out with Sonic. There's so many fucking MacGuffins. Like the go-to is the Chaos Emeralds.
Yes, I was thinking that. I'm like Chaos Emeralds and then Soul Emeralds and then there's like 5 different emeralds in just these 12 issues.
Yeah, Dr. Starline at the end introduces the Warp Topaz, which is a totally new gemstone with a totally new power. Like, there's so many fucking MacGuffins, most of them some kind of crystal. But yeah.
Why does this entire universe hinge on different powered rocks?
It's just, goddamn. That's just Sonic, baby. It's usually Chaos Emeralds, but they're not above throwing in something else.
All right. I will rate the first 12 issues of the IDW Sonic the Hedgehog comic 3.5 Wispons out of 5 Chaos Topaz Majiggers.
Okay. I'll just give it 2 out of 2 Foxtails. It's not actually perfect, but these ratings don't mean anything, and I just enjoy the hell out of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. You're done, Tyler. You don't ever have to talk about Sonic again, but you fucking will.
I can't say no, but just know that I have done this for you, and the spooky time is coming.
God, yeah.
Should I have hit stop recording by now?
I did put... No, we didn't do the fucking sound off, bitch.
Oh, we didn't.
God damn it. Did you really stop recording?
No. Okay. I'm saying, should we have by now?
Okay, we're almost
because done. I want this to be the end of the episode where I tease you with the upcoming torches of the holidays.
Okay, well then let me get to this
Halloween season that starts September 1st and goes all the way through Christmas Eve.
Bullshit. Get out of here. Okay, that's gonna do it for us. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with your friends, drop a like or a rating. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Tongue in Geek. That's at Tongue in Geek, all one word. Thank you for joining us, and remember, don't throw your baby in the trash.
Just throw Charmy in the trash. Fuck Charmy.
Oh.